Okay, we are live. Welcome to Continue Freedom. Thank you guys so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate it. If you are new, well, if you're a returning guest, be sure to hit me up in the comments below and say, yep, I'm back for some more. Let's talk about some great stuff today. I'm back for more. Let me know where you're from, all that good stuff. If you are new, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and leave some comments as well. We want to converse about some of this stuff along the way. Huge, huge things happening. As you guys saw in my thumbnail, the JFK files, RFK files, MLK files, all that stuff is going to be released by Donald Trump, and it's unbelievable. It's like a 3-day, checklist, wish list of all the things that we wanted to have done early on, or that we wanted to have done in his 2016 term, and he's already starting to do them within 72 hours, roughly, of him taking office. 72, 96, however many hours it's been, and I'm going to hit this first before we get into the headline topic. But for those of you that don't know, Trump now says that Ukraine is ready to make a deal in the war on Russia. Could it be possible that in the first few months of Donald Trump's presidency, we get peace in the Middle East, peace in the Russia-Ukraine war, a booming economy? I don't know if you got crypto. Is crypto going to go off the chain? Who knows? But this is according to the Post-Millennial, and popping up on the wrong window here. Okay, so it says, just in, Trump says Ukraine is ready to make a deal in the war in Russia. So speaking to reporters today, so on Thursday, President Donald Trump said that he wanted to speak to Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as the Ukrainian President Zelensky, that Zelensky was ready to talk about a deal. According to Fox News, Trump announced that Zelensky is ready to make a deal to end the war with Putin. This comes after Trump said earlier today that he still wants to meet, or that he wants to meet with Putin. And this is indicative of the Trump presidency that we have all been expecting. It's emblematic of the Trump presidency we've all been expecting, which is, for 4 years, Republicans, Democrats, the warmongers, the establishment, they've all done one thing, and that is fuel this war. And in 72 hours, we've already got people saying they're willing to come to the table to talk about a negotiation. And we're coming up on 3 years is really what it was. February 2022, that's when that's when the invasion actually took place. The war technically started in 2014, but this has cost hundreds of thousands of lives, tens of thousands of civilian lives. Joe Biden and Congress did absolutely nothing. And then Trump comes in and, they fueled the flames. They pumped a ton of money into the military-industrial complex. Yeah, they did all that. But they didn't do anything to try to end this war. Donald Trump comes in and things start to change. It's so rapid. It's almost too much. I feel like it's sensory. Do you guys feel like it's sensory overload sometimes? Just in the first 72 hours? But it also shows that he's focused in an entirely different direction. Donald Trump is. He's not focused on, whether it's Raytheon or Boeing or General Dynamics or any of those folks making tons and tons of money, which is what Dan Crenshaw and Lindsey Graham and people like that have been focused on. He's focused on one simple fact, and that's ending the war, not fueling the war. And the public mandate, we're the ones who made this happen, by the way. We are the ones who got him on the track towards ending this thing, because we gave him the mandate. We told them we were tired of these wars. We're tired of sending our money into other countries and fueling their war and fueling the death of their people. When we could get into a whole debate about the Ukraine war and whether it should have, where we should be in that situation in the first place. I'm not going to go into that level of detail on this particular topic, because this is new. The peace talks are new. It's literally in the last few hours. But I think it was great. I thought it was awesome. I was very, very pleased to see it, and I'm sure that you guys are as well if you voted for Donald Trump, because you were voting for an end to all these wars, an end to the death. As a person who spent, my early years of life, my first 10 years of professional experience was in the military as an active duty Army officer, training for and going to war. I'm pretty sick of it, And even though it's in another country, I get it. War is something we're never going to get away from entirely. But when it's done as irresponsibly as the war in Ukraine has been carried out, the irresponsible spending on our part, yeah, I'm okay with ending it. So let's talk about the headline here, which is Trump signs an order to declassify the files on JFK, RFK, and the MLK assassinations. And I'm going to play the video of it here in a minute because the video was pretty fantastic. But let me read this report. This is from Fox News. And it says, speaking to reporters on Thursday today, President Donald Trump said that he wanted to speak to Russian oh, I'm on the wrong article. Yeah, that's why we're live here, people. We are live here. And so let me flip over to the right one. President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order to declassify files on the assassinations of former President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert F. Kennedy, and civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr. Trump had promised to lead the previous declassified documents during his 2024 campaign, following decades of speculation and conspiracy theories about the killings. Everything will be revealed, Trump told reporters as he signed the order in the Oval Office, which we got to watch the video here in a minute. But after appeals from the CIA and FBI, Trump blocked the release of hundreds of records. This was early on in his last presidency, in his last term. He said, Trump said at the time, the potential harm to U.S. national security, law enforcement, or foreign affairs is, quote, of such gravity that it outweighs the public interest in immediate disclosure. The judge, no, I do not have, Brotherhood of Night. I don't have the link to it yet. As soon as that comes out, I'm probably going to do another video and I will include the link. So whenever it is actually released, he signed the executive order. I have not seen the link yet, but I will definitely get that out to everybody. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, the Judge Napolitano, I believe it was Judge Napolitano. He was doing an interview not too long ago where he was talking to, it might have been Sean Hannity or one of the other people. I honestly don't watch Fox News a whole lot, if I'm being honest with you, but he did an interview where he said he spoke to Trump about releasing the JFK files, and Trump told him if you knew exactly what was in those files, you wouldn't have released them either. That was the way that Judge Napolitano laid that out. And that should tell us that what we see should be grand, but I also think, and it should be revealing, but I also think we have to ask a couple questions. I know the CIA and the deep state and folks like that are really freaking out about it, but we have to ask ourselves now, what was destroyed? There is wide reporting about things like the skull fragment that was used as part of the investigation, that went missing a few years after the assassination. But what else over these decades since the actual assassination of JFK, how many other files, how many other pieces of evidence, how many other smoking guns have gone missing? And my hope is that the internet sleuths, and I'm going to do as much research as I can on it, but those internet sleuths will be able to find, okay, here's a missing link. Here's a missing link. Where's this piece of evidence? Where's that piece of evidence? You know, because you can say speculation. If you read all the way through an investigation, you would say that here's all the speculation, the things that we don't know. Here's what we are learning. There's a gap in information, and then there's some revelation. There should be a piece of evidence tied to that revelation, and we should be able to identify which missing pieces of evidence there are. That means we're going to have to do the work to ask those, the questions of the FBI, of the CIA, whoever is revealed in these files, to be responsible if it is them. But we also have to ask we should be looking for the people that were actually giving the orders for these things. If it is an inside job, which all evidence alludes to it being some sort of an inside job, but there's a book out, and I cannot remember the author's name, but it was basically implies that LBJ is the one who was spearheading this movement, who was spearheading this conspiracy to take out JFK. Is that going to be divulged? That's something we should be looking for. Was this, and also, Kash Patel said in an interview that, yeah, I've read the JFK files, says he's read the JFK files. And he alludes to the fact that we basically know, or that we basically have all the information that we need. Well, a lot of that is speculation, right? We're speculating on a lot of those things. Certain, I won't get into that, but we have to find out if this was merely a symbolic gesture. Was withholding this information a symbolic gesture by the deep state to say, we have the power to control the information? Is that a possibility? I don't know. It could be. But we're just going to have to look 2, 3, and 4 levels deep on this. But before I go any further, let's watch the video because it's a historic moment. It's an absolutely historic moment. That's not the right one. Oh, here's the one. Let's play the one on X because I don't like playing stuff on Fox News.
We have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years.
Yeah, it tried decades.
And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Give that to RFK. So RFK Jr. gets the pen. And here we have it. I mean, it's done. So these are, I mean, I'm going to get into a few other things that Trump has done that are just absolutely, they're unbelievable. It's unbelievable what's happening in 72 hours. I mean, are you all shocked by this? Are you shocked by the progress that he's making so far? And he's made some decisions, I will say, that are not all that great. There was the lady who's the head of some seed oil commission who's going to be a key component of the FDA, I believe. I don't know. We'll see about that. He's not going to make every decision the right way. He's not going to be 100% on all of this, but the pardons, we'll get into the J6 pardons. I talked about that in my last video, but we have to kind of expound on that a little bit. But here's another set of pardons that's not getting a lot of airtime. These are the Christians. These are the Christian folks who were, I'm not even showing it to you. They're being pardoned. They were the ones that were praying out in front of abortion clinics. He issued pardons for these folks. There were 20, I think the total number were 23 pro-life activists were pardoned. And these folks are in here singing hymns. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful sight to see these people. But this is, as of today as well, Trump pardons 23 pro-life activists. So President Donald Trump issued pardons for 23 pro-life activists on Thursday, fulfilling a promise he made during the presidential campaign. He signed the pardons on Thursday in the Oval Office at the White House, the day before the March for Life to be held in Washington, D.C., according to the Thomas More Society. Last week, the religious liberty law firm petitioned the incoming president to issue 21 individual pardons for pro-life activists who were arrested for violating the Federal Freedom of Access to Clinic, the FACE Act. It's basically if you block access to an abortion clinic, then they can take action against you, whatever. And so they called this and it's a conspiracy against rights is what they call it, a statute, while peacefully engaging in protests at abortion clinics. Several of those convicted and imprisoned were elderly and in poor health. At least 2 times during the 2024 campaign for the presidency, Trump said he intended to release pro-life activists who are currently imprisoned. Quote, "These peaceful pro-life Americans mistreated by President Joe Biden include grandparents, pastors, a Holocaust survivor, and a Catholic priest. All are selfless, sincere patriots," the petition from the Chicago-based law firm reads. During Biden's 4 years in office, the U.S. Department of Justice brought charges against more than 30 people who took part in pro-life demonstrations under the FACE Act. I see this actually in my hometown. There's not a lot. I'm in the Bible Belt. I'm in East Tennessee. And we used to see it all the time. There'd be people out in front of the abortion clinics, and they would be waving signs, and they would be protesting, and on public sidewalks. I don't think we ever had anybody arrested, but in this incident, when you get into left-wing areas where essentially abortion becomes almost a religious movement to these people, the law enforcement is on board with it, the city governance is on board with it, and you get people thrown in prison. And when you have a presidency that is chock full of far left individuals, then they go after anybody who violates their religious beliefs. That's my opinion. They treat it like a religion, and these folks fell victim to it. And Trump said, "Nope, we're not doing that anymore. We're releasing them." I mean, winning. Any more? Anybody tired of the winning yet? I'm not. Wow. And so the J6 stuff. This is, we go back to the pardons. The January 6 folks, this is one of the fathers. His son has been in prison, I believe, for a few years, and he explains the environment that his son was put in. So, look, when I first heard that they had non-U.S. citizens, I won't say they're non-U.S. citizens, they had folks from early on, the prisons, I believe they said they were from Nigeria or they were from other countries. My assumption, I have not found evidence of this, but they were saying that the guards are not even, Department of Corrections type guards. They were people from another agency. It sounded to me like triple canopy, and triple canopy was something we used to use as essentially as gate guards overseas. But that's what it sounded like. Like they weren't even being. So these people don't have the same, let's just say, there's a lot of cultural differences between us and them. And the way this guy explains it is it was more like a POW camp than it was being in prison. Listen to this.
Their husbands, the fathers, the breadwinners have been taken from them and put in prison unlawfully for many years for the simplest of infractions.
You said this wasn't the first prison that your son was at. Can you talk to us about what they charged him with and why he was at another prison before coming here?
Sure. What they do is it's called diesel therapy, so you can't settle. So what they'll do is when they first picked my son up on January 16, 2021, they scooped him up and then they started taking him from prison to prison. Spent 202 days down in the bowels of the DC prison. The conditions there are so egregious. He was actually sifting water through a sock because there's so much rust in the bottom of that prison that you can't drink the water. And so, they would lay them on a cot. They had lights. This was like Vietnam, where they had lights on all the time. You had 2 blankets. They call them suicide blankets, and you just laid them on a basically a block, and you didn't even have a mattress. So, and then what they do as soon as you start to get communications with your attorneys and your family, they scoop you up and they take you to another prison. And then so you'll be there for 2 weeks. You're usually a week to 2 weeks. You're in solitary, where they're transitioning you into the new prison. And then you're there for, maybe 3 to 5 months. They ship you out again. And there was a time that on 2 Christmases ago, we didn't know where he was for I want to say almost 3 weeks. How is that possible? How come you can't, call his family? Nobody knows where he's at. When you can't talk to your attorneys, you can't hardly even talk to your family, and you can't possibly, make a defense. And then when you do get your attorneys, you talk to your attorneys, and then they scoop you up and they move you to the prison. All your notes and stuff, they take. So they know exactly what your defense is. It's like playing cards with your opponent looking over your back and looking at your hand. It's impossible to win. What has happened under the Biden regime was so egregious, so anti-American, unconstitutional. They walked all over our Bill of Rights. Thank God President Trump came in here, because not just for our patriots and our families, but for all of America, because if they didn't like you, they would do anything to shut you up. They tried to shut down my businesses. They had the local the state agencies come after my companies. I got a bunch of companies like restaurants. And so they'll stop at nothing to shut you down, and I've lived through it, and so here we are today.
So you're standing out here. President Trump signed the pardon over 24 hours ago, or coming up on 24 hours ago. Your son is still not out. What reasons have they given you for that, and what do you think is actually going on?
What this is nothing more than this nasty, rotten mayor of this city that controls these facilities. They're not federal facilities, they're city-run facilities. So what she's doing, because she's all bent out of shape, because they're out, she is doing everything she possibly can to hold up the process and also harm him. My son was assaulted by a lieutenant and 5 other guards last night. He was assaulted, punched. He was sitting in the middle of the quad waiting to get processed and go out. Came in, they handcuffed him, they wrenched his wrists, put him behind him, they punched him, from what I understand. They threw him physically into his cell, and that's where he was for the rest of the night. And this is a young man who has been pardoned like everybody else. And so this is how they're treating them. So we already have a lawsuit filed, but this just adds to that.
Okay. So there's a lot that's going to be divulged from these folks. I don't exactly know what. I don't know what they're going to come out and tell us. But as they get released, they're going to start telling their stories. They have full, unconditional pardons for what happened. And when they start hitting social media, if any of you are watching this and you want to come on, I would love to have you on to talk about it. But there's going to be some frightening things that happen, because that's essentially describing a POW camp. That's what they're talking about. And the way that they come after that guy, his son was the one who was arrested. And when he's trying to work things from the outside, they go after him and go after his businesses. That's what the cartels do. That's what illegal organizations do. Not the U.S. federal government, not the Department of Justice, not our law enforcement. We're supposed to be above board. But that's not the way this has been treated. These folks have 100% been political prisoners. Now, some of them did, there were some violent acts. There were some people who, they beat up cops. Now, nothing happened to that officer, which you can watch the video. I didn't pull it up for this show. But the officer who mercilessly beat a woman who was simply standing there in the crowd. They weren't pushing forward, but they were standing at the crowd, and she mercilessly beat the woman with a baton and put her in critical condition. Nothing happens to that person. The guy who shot Ashley Babbitt gets promoted. But the people that were, even if they did something, call it violent, or they damaged property, 3 years is ample time to serve for that. Because if we go back to the Summer of Love with Antifa and BLM, they burned down cities, and the vast majority of them, 90 some odd %, didn't even go to prison, didn't even get community service. The ones who did were let out very, very quickly, and in some cases bailed out by the Vice President of the United States, our former Vice President of the United States. So it's the two-tiered justice system that really angers people. And again, like this guy was explaining, moving them from prison to prison, not giving them access to their counsel. These are, aside from being illegal, these are, it has a cooling effect on people that want to exercise their First Amendment rights. It should be condemned, and it's atrocious. So I can't wait to hear their stories. And again, if you know of any of the J6 folks that want to come on, I'd love to have them on and talk about their experience, how they were treated. Let's shine a big bright light on what's going on, or what went on for the past 3-4 years. Now, Trump is not, again, I'm going to go, the guy's not holding back. We got to talk about where he's winning again. He goes to talk to the World Economic Forum, and Bank of America CEO, Brian Moynihan, Trump calls him out straight to his face. Straight to his face. I don't like what you're doing. Listen to this.
Speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Awkward.
Mr. President, I'll say that your friend Gianni said hello, told me to tell you hello, and we look forward to sponsoring the World Cup when it comes, both this summer for the club and next year. So thank you for getting that for the United States.
Wow. I mean, he's like, I just don't care. Okay, you know what? What are you going to do? I'm not running for re-election, so I'm just going to call these guys out as I see them. And he was talking about Jamie Dimon, of course, is the other person. But we've been listening to it for years now. Conservatives being debanked, a lot of social media personalities being debanked, not being able to carry out their business, and even at times, folks were getting censored from. What was the other subscription service? The one that everybody used. I'm drawing a complete blank. Patreon. Yeah, Patreon. That was the one. And even Patreon was censoring some folks. But now we've got Rumble, where you can do subscriptions. You've got X, where you can do subscriptions. You've got options, and these people better get on board. They better start playing ball and stop debanking folks, and understand that this monstrous conservative movement can be quite profitable for them, because these people they're selling merch, they're selling airtime, they're selling all kinds of stuff. And if you want to be, Bank of America, just loyal to the World Economic Forum and the political left, you can do that, but you're missing out on a boatload of money. A boatload, because we're only going to grow. We're only going to grow. The right can, we won in a landslide, but every day, week, month, we are pulling more and more people over to a more conservative side of, a more conservative worldview. So get ready. Get ready. The other thing that he did was he called out Saudi Arabia. I thought this was interesting, because Saudi Arabia, I reported this yesterday, I believe it was, or the day before, whenever it was, that Saudi Arabia is saying they're going to invest, I think $600 billion was the number, that they're going to invest over the next few years in the United States. And Trump, he kind of called them out. He still says he wants their investment, which is great, because he has acquired, or he has organized about $3 trillion in investments over the next 4 to 10 years, depends. I forget the number now. But listen to this.
Papers that Saudi Arabia will be investing at least $600 billion in America, but I'll be asking the Crown Prince, who's a fantastic guy, to round it out to around $1 trillion. I think they'll do that, because we've been very good to them. And I'm also going to ask Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. You got to bring it down, which, frankly, I'm surprised they didn't do before the election. That didn't show a lot of love by them not doing it. I was a little surprised by that. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately. Right now, the price is high enough that that war will continue. You got to bring down the oil price. You got to end that war. They should have done it long ago. They're very responsible, actually, to a certain extent, for what's taking place. Millions of lives are being lost.
Okay, and that's from real Alex Jones. So yeah, I mean, he's essentially saying that because Russia is able to profit off of oil, that hey, you got to bring the price of oil down to take away their supply of money. It takes a lot to fight a war. We should all know that because we've been involved in one, or were involved in one for 20 some odd years. I was certainly involved in it, and it takes a lot of money to do that. Russia is relying heavily on oil and natural gas, all those things. And he's saying, yeah, you all could fix this by increasing the supply, bringing the price down. Well, we're gonna have something to say about that because Donald Trump has already said, "Drill, baby, drill." That's been a huge key. It's been a key component of his campaign, or was a key component of his campaign, and now is going to become a key component of his presidency. Is drill, baby, drill. We got to increase the supply. It's simple supply and demand sort of thing. And so he calls out Saudi Arabia, despite the fact that they're going to invest $600 billion to $1 trillion over the next few years. But let's talk about one of his other campaign promises. This is, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, they have been absolutely going to town on criminal illegal aliens. Listen to this report. This is from Fox News. Unbelievable. And this is really good. I'm going to play all 5 minutes of it because it's totally worth it.
Threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
And, I have to make a point here, a quick point, is that, yeah, it's not just the person that we're looking for, but if we find people along the way, we're going to take them as well, and we're going to send them out of the country. The report goes on to talk about, the difficulties in working with these sanctuary, whether it's cities, towns, whatever it happens to be. And it's that they can't really stop ICE from coming in and doing their job because it's a federal law enforcement agency, but they don't have to help. And so this requires additional resources on the part of ICE and other agencies to find these individuals and then to carry out the raids or to carry out the arrests, whatever it happens to be. I think that something we have to consider is that this is going to get increasingly more and more dangerous because they're going after the dangerous criminals first. That's their priority. Is, okay, we've got people that have maybe a paper trail, they have arrest records, we have some sort of a background on them to help us hone in our search and find those individuals. And yeah, we're going to pick up some additional folks along the way. But people are catching, we're only, again, 72 hours roughly into the Trump presidency, a little over that. But these criminals are going to catch on. The raids are going to become more and more dangerous. The need for those local law enforcement agents or local law enforcement officers is going to become greater because of the threat. The speed at which they get the intel is going to need to be swifter so that they can move more quickly. These folks are going to catch on. They're criminals, and criminals tend to be pretty good at evading law enforcement. But that's what we have to consider, is that these ICE agents, there's going to be incidents. I pray to God that doesn't happen. But it's huge success now because it's coming in force, it's coming in mass, and it's the shock and awe effect of the Trump border policy, the deportation policy. This is going to get dicey, and these cities, people got to call them out. The sanctuary cities, we have to call those folks out. When ICE agents say, "Well, yes, this person was injured, this happened, this mishap occurred because local law enforcement wouldn't give us the information we need," or so on and so forth. They're making their job more difficult. For what? To protect these people that were, I mean, you heard it. They were, sexual crimes, violent crimes, drug crimes. These aren't the people, the bleeding heart people coming from downtrodden areas to build a better life. These are folks bringing their criminal enterprise into the United States, and we're trying to get rid of them. How about you help with that? Draw a line there, sanctuary cities. That, yeah, okay, if they're violent criminals, we'll help you. But some of these places, like in Boston, they're saying, nope, not at all. We're not helping you one iota. And in fact, we're going to keep encouraging people to come here to Boston. It's ridiculous. Does that not seem nuts to you guys? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you live in a sanctuary city. If you happen to be watching right now, because we got quite a few folks on. If you live in one of these sanctuary cities, let me know what it's like there. But I'm not going to play the rest of that one. I'm not going to sweat it. But it's, it's unfortunate that folks have to live like that. Like what government is going to say, yep, you know what? I'm going to make my people live with these violent criminals right around the corner from them. And when the good law enforcement agents come to do their job and get them out of the country to keep Americans safe, they say, nah, I can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with keeping Americans safe. It doesn't make sense. I've had this argument with folks when it comes to the moral standpoint on immigration, that folks are leaving, whether they're leaving Venezuela or they're leaving El Salvador, they're coming from war-torn countries or corrupt countries. In some instances, they voted to make their country the way it was. If you want to talk about socialist countries, people leave it because they start starving to death and their circumstances get, bad enough. They say, all right, I got to leave. I got to go somewhere else. Well, America has greener pastures, and America will give me the taxpayer money to pay for my, hotel room and give me 3 squares a day and put money on a debit card. It's this gimme, this handout thing. But some of those folks voted for the circumstances in their country, and it's incumbent upon them. It's their responsibility to fix it. But there are people who leave these, they're in true dire circumstances. But does that mean that we have an overarching moral obligation to accept them in? And the obvious answer is no, because a key component of our legal immigration system is vetting, understanding who these people are, where they are coming from. If they come here and get American citizenship, who are they going to be bringing with them? That sort of thing. And not to mention the social safety net. You could listen to Milton Friedman, and Milton Friedman talked about seasonal workers and migrant workers and things like that. And from his perspective, yeah, you should be able to do that. You should be able to have people come here. But the social safety net is what makes that an untenable situation. If you can come here and get an H-1B visa, or you can get a student visa, and then you can stay, and then you can take advantage of our welfare system, of our social safety net, a system which you may or may not be paying into, then that's ludicrous. But that's what we're dealing with right now. Literally millions of people coming here, leeching off of our system, leeching off of our good nature, stealing our taxpayer dollars is essentially what they are doing. And now you're a double criminal. You came here illegally, you circumvented law enforcement, which makes you a criminal. And now you are coming in and taking our taxpayer money that you did from a system that you did not pay into. That's theft. That is criminal. This is what Donald Trump is trying to alleviate. You all agree? Disagree? Give me your thoughts on it. But kudos to Tom Homan and Kristi Noem. So they're getting after it already. And this was I'm trying to find all the details around this one. So if you guys have seen it, But this is an immigration lawyer in Rhode Island, one of the folks who's been processing these illegal immigrants. They got paid a search warrant, or a search warrant was carried out by ICE. Hey, let's have a quick conversation with you. You're the one who's been helping these people come into this country, these illegal folks coming into our country. Let's have a chit chat. I mean, it's just the winning. Another thing Trump did today was he froze. This is he now announced a lot at the World Economic Forum, but he just told them that he has frozen foreign aid. And look, here, let me put this up. Let's listen to this real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
Aid freeze, and I created the new Department of Government Efficiency. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
Yes. Okay, so this is there's a lot to unpack there, but I'm going to real quickly. I'm going to respond. I don't know why that took me to another website. I'm going to respond to Romans 12:2. Why would lawyers help illegals? I'm going to tell you something that is. I've done a video on this, and I don't remember how long ago it was, but I started going through the numbers on nonprofits down at the southern border and the amount of money that is being pumped into these nonprofits. And some of them tripled in size from the time that Donald Trump was the president of the United States to the time that Joe Biden became president of the United States. Literally tripled the amount of money over a year or two. And it's these nonprofits that are paying lawyers to help people with, processing illegal immigrants, processing their visas and other things to try to get them legal citizenship. And law firms are expensive. And so these people are profiteering off of illegal immigration in a massive, massive way. And it's being flowed through nonprofit agencies. I might do a video on that one recently, but that's why these lawyers do it. They're doing it for the money. Some of them may have a benevolent agenda, but that's not going to stop them from charging $200, $300, $400 an hour to these nonprofits who are getting literally hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money. Organizations that I found one that was 9 figures. This organization from fundraising was getting, I believe it was $750,000 if I remember off the top of my head. That's all they were getting from fundraising. The rest of their money came from the federal agency, from federal grants is what it was, not federal agencies, but from federal grants, which is our taxpayer money. It's absolutely ludicrous. So back to that video that we were just watching, and in that video, Donald Trump said he's freezing foreign aid. He's gotten us out of the Paris Climate Accord. He says, I'm doing away with the electric vehicle mandate. Drive whatever vehicle you want to drive. Yeah, what a novel concept. We don't have, you could listen to a lot of experts talk about the energy race that we're in right now and clean energy versus this, that, and the other. We don't have the storage capacity to run on full renewable energy. Renewable energy is not reliable energy. The only reliable energy we've got is the liquid gold in the ground. If you can find some way to make hyper efficient wind turbines and solar panels that don't scratch or get covered with debris or that don't break, it's ludicrous to think that we can put all of our effort into renewable energies when we've got nuclear, which is heavily underutilized. And in fact, we had the guy who's going to head the Department of Energy said, no, we're not in a clean energy race with China. We are in an energy race with China because China's going to build 100 new coal plants this year. China's going to build 6 new nuclear power plants this year. How many are on the docket for us to build? None. We're not building any because we're trying to go this ludicrous route of clean energy when we could, I mean, if you want to get into carbon capture, fine, get into carbon capture. Try to figure that out. A lot of people say it's a scam. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we've got ample amounts of oil. We have centuries of oil in the ground that has been, we're not allowed to drill. We're not allowed to use it. That hurts us. We see it at the gas pump. We see it in our pocketbooks. We see it in our wallets. So Donald Trump said, "No, I'm not messing with all that stuff. Y'all want to figure out some amazing way to generate electricity with absolutely no pollution? Go for it. Roll on, everybody, but not us." It's fantastic. I want to thank you guys, by the way, that are commenting down the comment section. I truly appreciate it. I love the engagement. This is why we do this. This is why we have this podcast. And so I'm going to give, while we've got some folks on, a quick disclaimer. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, that you hit the like button, that you hit the notification bell. If you're on X, which I think of, I don't know how many folks are on X. I just get a total count of the individuals that are on. But if you are on X, go find me over on YouTube. You can find me on Rumble, whichever is your preferred platform. These are the only three that I use. Yes, I still use YouTube. I just can't seem to get away from it. It's still the #2 search engine in the world, but I love Rumble. If I'm given an option, I'm going Rumble and X. Those are my two favorite places. But if you are on X, you can hit me, follow my channel over on X. I truly appreciate it. I do these live streams as often as I possibly can. Sometimes we're doing pre-recorded stuff, but, excuse me. I usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we're about to that 45-minute mark, and I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So if you guys have anything you want me to talk about in my next video, anything that you happen to see in the news that you want me to research, hit me up in the comments, and I will go at it full bore because I'm on a quest for information. I'm on a quest for knowledge, and ultimately I want to inform you guys. And so I appreciate you hanging with me. All you folks that have been here for this whole live stream, I truly, truly appreciate you. I will see you in the next video. Follow me on whatever channel you happen to be on. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. I can't wait to report on something else tomorrow to let you guys know what he's doing and how we're winning. This country is coming back in a hurry, and it's happening a lot faster than I thought it would. I'm thankful for that. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.